Sadhguruji, namaskar, and pranam, and good afternoon, konnichiwa, ni hao, just about all greetings to you from the corporate India. It's a great pleasure meeting you today, a great privilege for me to be talking to you, listening to you, and enjoying this conversation. I want to begin by first tracing back a little bit, if you don't mind. Like in the organization, we often talk about the origin of the organization. And this is particularly important as we build future for the organization. I want to talk a little bit about your childhood. And I want to know a little bit about your childhood. And I think it will demystify a lot of what people know or don't know about you. You were a part of 4 siblings, and you were the youngest, and your father was a doctor.
You've been doing research.
Oh, well, I read about this, but I know just this much. Tell us about your childhood, and more importantly, how did it grow? What was the journey from childhood to adulthood?
When I was a child, nothing made sense to me. Nothing. Because I looked at everything in a certain way, or I tried to look at everything the way it is. Probably when I was 3 or 4 years of age, I realized I don't know anything actually. Don't know means in such a fundamental way I do not know. If somebody gives me a glass of water, I would be simply staring at it for hours because I did not know what is water. Well, I knew that if I drink the water, it'll quench my thirst, and many different ways that I could use water. But I did not know what it is. Actually, even today, nobody really knows what water is. The only substance found on the planet in all 3 states, 2/3 of the planet is water, 2/3 of your body is water. When we say life, we look for water. But do we really know what it is? Do we really know what anything is for that matter? With all this scientific exploration, we do not even know a single atom in its entirety. We know how to use them. We know how to break an atom, we know how to fuse them, but we do not know what it is. This is so with everything. We know only in terms of how it relates to our life, how we can make use of it. I think this is a very important thing today, because see, if you see that you do not know, your attention will always be at its highest. If you want to do anything in your life, whether you want to run a company or, be an artist, be a musician or a mystic or whatever you want to be, only to what you pay attention yields to you, isn't it?
Sadhguru, this is quite interesting to notice that you're a very unconventional guru. What's your thought on the so-called DNA of success that you are kind of symbolizing, or your views are very much around what we call it as the fundamental unit of success?
Generally, for an individual human being, if what they're seeking happens, that's success, isn't it? And for most human beings, their happiness is in this. The only and only reason why a whole lot of people are unhappy about something is, life is not happening the way they think it should happen. I would say the real success is, if you come to a place within you that life will happen in ways that you never thought possible. Life is not happening the way you think it should happen. Life is happening in so many ways beyond your ability to think. I would say that's a successful life. So people come and ask me, oh, will all my desires come true? I tell them, your desires are very petty. You're only desiring a little exaggerated sense of what you already know. May things happen that you never desired. Things that you're not capable of desiring, they must happen, isn't it? That's an exciting and successful life. And life need not be successful. Life is not about success. Life is just about this. If this life lives full-fledged, that is the success of life.
Let me take your views too and try and connect with the corporate world now.
I was talking about knowing the whole world as yourself. Now you're talking about creating another world that you call as corporate world. Just because you work in a company, you don't belong to another world. Please, let there be one world.
Or within that world, the small world called corporate world, isn't it? Okay. Or maybe that's another way of describing what some people do, what they call it.
The whole problem is, everybody is trying to be exclusive. And they work themselves to such exclusiveness, they feel lonely and suffer loneliness. This is madness. You want to be exclusive, but you suffer loneliness. What is that? You must enjoy your loneliness then.
And that often happens because you try and define yourself in
Yes,
some
you want to be exclusive.
niche.
All the advertisements are telling you how to be exclusive, isn't it? Now you're saying we are a corporate world. Then you are separated. In that corporate world, slowly more and more separation will happen and then you're just alone in your own bubble. No, please live in this world. The Creator's world is wonderful. Creator's creation is great. You are right now creating things in your mind and you think that's real. That is a psychological framework. It's like a cinema that you're playing. Most of the time it's badly directed in most people's minds.
So these are filters, isn't it? And they need to get off.
I'm not saying they're filters. Your mind can conjure up a whole new universe of its own. But it has nothing to do with reality. You can make up whatever you want. So, corporations are there in this world, but corporations should not become a world of their own.
That's true.
First the corporation will become a world, then you will become a world of your own. Actually it is true. You ask 100 different people, these 100 people are not living in this world, they're living in their own world. And they can't manage it. If you live in this world, see, the planet is spinning, you don't have to spin it, isn't it? Sun is coming up, you don't have to pull it up. It's a wonderful world, you don't have to do much, you can just enjoy the bounty of life. If you live in your own world, there are too many things to do.
One thing that we always struggle is this whole issue, which is, sometimes we call it mundane, sometimes we call it as a purpose of our life. When we talk of the work that people do, and if their commitment to work or integrity towards the work that they do, then it is quite obvious that in the so-called business language, profits and growth in the organization become as one of the big drivers. Is that the right approach? You think that organizations of the world today are keeping that as one of the important value creation? Would you call that as a value creation, and should leadership be focused on that?
In an economic sense, yes. Economy is just one part of our life. Right now we are trying to make it our entire life. Economy means a little bit of organization, organizing our survival process. That's what economy is. But right now we are trying to make survival the entire life. It's not going to work like that. Because a human being is not going to be fulfilled with his survival process. If you had come as any other creature, that would be true. But for a human being, survival is only the beginning. Only after survival is taken care of, life really begins. The possibility of exploring human possibilities arises only after survival is taken care of. Now we are trying to make entire life into a survival process. We are organizing the world as if survival is everything.
There's a purpose.
Which is a serious mistake. Is growth needed? Definitely needed. Because whatever this organization of survival process has not touched all the 7.2 billion people. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. But that is not the entire process of life. It will not fulfill a human being, just surviving, just eating, sleeping, reproducing and dying one day. These are all things you have to do, but this is not going to be fulfilling. See, if you look at any other creature and a human being, the thing is just this. Human beings are not doing anything different, they're doing the same things. Only thing is, A human being can do everything that an animal does consciously. That's a big difference. If that is missing, if our survival process, our economic needs have become compulsive, then we've lost it. We have thrown away the evolution which took millions of years. We've just gone back.
All right. As leaders, and this is another struggle that many of the people always have in their mind. As leaders, we all feel that one of our important tasks is inspiring people who work with us for any purpose, any pursuit, maybe in a narrow sense, a business world, in a bigger sense, maybe 7.2 billion people. Someday we will probably have a leader who would be talking about this whole thing like you just stated. But in our own world, let us say, when we are leaders and we say this is our biggest task of inspiring our people, making them do and do it with interest and passion. From your perspective, where do you think our leaders falter or don't do a complete job, or maybe just do a unidimensional job and there is something else to it which can make us complete leaders? What is the definition of complete leadership?
See, inspiration is not a trick, nor is leadership some kind of a trick. Three things if you learn from a leadership course or a book, you can inspire people. No. It's not going to work like that. People will be inspired by you only if you're doing something that they can look up to. Why should they be inspired by you or anybody for that matter? If you're doing something which they see as something truly valuable and something truly worthwhile, they will be inspired. If this is just a trick to drive the quarterly balance sheet, then they will see through it after some time. Then it is only every time incentives and incentives and incentives, where the very way people are paying salaries, they have to rob the rest of the world. There's no other way to pay salaries to their staff. When there is no inspiration, there's only incentive. Incentives, it's going up, and it is just like hanging a bone in front of a dog and keep them running and running and running. And at some point, this will not work. At some point, they will find other ways. We can run these things, but towards what end? Nobody will be happy. The most important thing is, if human beings have to be truly productive, without being whipped by somebody, you have to make them see there is something that is truly worthwhile doing, and they should become worthy of doing that. If this can be put across in some way, you don't have to drive them. It will just happen.
You know, there is a very nice Japanese phrase which is called sanji. It essentially means self-awareness, self-motivation, self-understanding.
Not a selfie, huh?
Not a selfie.
Because you're a camera person and I thought you were talking of…
Yeah, so there can be a selfie sanji. So the self becomes so much a core of the future progress. Let me ask you a question on self, on people, individuals. In today's world, there is a struggle. It's a competing world, and individuals define success, maybe using the phrase that you said, that extracting something, somebody's lost, somebody's gained. But still, the individuals feel that they are on this race, and there are a lot of things that they have to do in a short work life, etc. They may be missing out something which is more important than what they're chasing.
Now, a whole lot of people who work like this, they always say, oh, it's been a long day. I keep reminding them. People ask me, it must have been a long day for you, whole day you've been on. I keep reminding them that even for me, if they don't give me an hour extra, the goddamn day is only 24 hours.
Yeah.
I've been looking for a few more hours, it's not coming. Even for me, they give me only 24 hours.
Yeah.
Time feels long. Time is a very relative experience. On a particular day, if you're very joyful, 24 hours just goes like a moment.
That's true.
On another day, if you're depressed or miserable, 24 hours passes like an eon. So somebody has a long day because he's slaving through his life. He's not creating, he's not wanting to do something. He's been made to do something. He has to do it. It's not that he's bursting and wanting to do it. If you're doing what you really care for, if you're doing what you want to do, why would it be a long day?
So what's your message for people who are really struggling for joy? They have a work to do, of course they do, they earn, there is an incentive, there is some degree of inspiration, common purpose, but still they miss the joy. Is there something that you feel is not a shortcut? We are sometimes often used to having shortcut formulas, not necessarily a shortcut at all, but a couple of points that you think are relevant for every individual. They need to keep it. This is something that they must pursue.
They just need to understand this much. If you want mangoes, you must go to a mango tree, right? So you want mangoes, you dig the earth because looking for mangoes.
Yeah.
You may find potatoes, but you'll not find mangoes. Okay? So if you want money, you go to the marketplace to do whatever you can do. If you want joy, you go to the marketplace, you're a fool. You may get money. Joy will not happen there because human experience, whether it's joy or misery, is all generated from within. So what you need to look inward, you're trying to create it in the marketplace, it's never ever going to happen. Your joy is only that somebody is not doing well enough. I don't… See, right now, suppose somebody is getting… let's say you have nothing, if you get 10 rupees, you're very happy. But tomorrow, all your neighborhood is earning 100 rupees. You're finding 10 rupees and you're fine, no, you're not fine. If everybody was earning 1 rupee and you got 10 rupees, you're fine. If you got 10 rupees and everybody got 100 rupees, you're not fine. Or in other words, you want everybody to be doing not so well around you. So this is not joy, this is sickness. You always want to have something that others cannot have. So if you leave this sickness, you don't worry about how somebody else is doing. If you want to live well, there's no problem. You want to live like somebody else, this is a serious problem. So you want joy, you must look in the right place. You don't go and look for it in the marketplace. If you want money, you go to the marketplace. If you want joy, you have to turn inward because this is where it is generated.
That's true, that's true. You know, this interesting thing, and I just want to ask you this last question, which is, I go back to that phrase, DNA of success. And the true joy in some way must be related to this. Isha Foundation created something like a series on this which is being appreciated. What exactly is the pursuit of that and in what way will it touch the lives of people and therefore will create, spread joy?
People think I'm always working with the corporates or business people. Yes, I am working with them. But I'm not working with corporates or business people. My interest is human beings. We work in the villages, over 70% of our time and resources spent in the rural areas. We spend a lot of time in the prisons, both in India and the United States. So am I interested in the prisoners? Am I interested in the farmers? Am I interested in the tribal women? Am I interested in business people? I'm not interested in any of them. I'm only interested in human beings. And human beings happen to be in various places. Unfortunately, some are trapped in the market, some in the prison, some at homes, in so many ways. So it doesn't matter where they are. The question is just this: if they want to be successful in whatever they endeavor to do in their life, first and foremost thing is, they must have a grasp Because to be successful in the world, you must have a grasp of your own body and your mind. If you cannot harness your physical body and your mind to do what you want them to do, then the chances of success are remote, and if it happens, it's accidental. That's why a whole lot of successful people are always fearful and stressful, because their success is accidental. They did not craft their success. So first and foremost thing, before you make any journey towards anything in your life, is your body and your mind should take instructions from you. If your body and your mind took instructions from you, would you choose to be joyful or miserable?
Obviously joyful.
So, the lack of joy or whatever else, misery or stress or tension, is not because of the nature of the markets or workplace or family situations or the national or international situations. It is simply that your body and your mind does not take instructions from you. It's as simple as that.
Thank you, Sadhguru. It was wonderful talking to you. There's so many, we want to just keep hearing you more and more and more and more. But a great lesson for us and great insights. Thank you.